Greetings of peace and love, everybody. My name is Rob Hotep, broadcasting on behalf of 13SignsAstrology.com. Thank you for listening and watching. On this particular episode, I have a lot of information to get out in this particular segment, so I'm just going to kind of flow with it, you know what I'm saying, and see how it all comes together. But I want to kind of start off and talk about Jesus. I want to talk about Jesus. Um, some people call him Jesus. Some people call him Yeshua. Some people call him their Savior, the Christ, the Messiah, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. He has many names. And I know a lot of people, I've made videos myself, and a lot of people, we get really political when we talk about Jesus. We get political. When I say political, it's a lot of politics behind Jesus. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the segment, but it's a lot of politics, when you deal with the life of Jesus. Um, for instance, it's even politics around his life and his death. People disagree on when Jesus died, for instance. People disagree just on a lot of different things where he occupied it. Like some people say Jesus only lived in a certain area, like in the Middle East, but then other people say he traveled the world. He went to America. He went to South America. He was basically a traveler. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of different stories out there, a lot of different politics or whatever when it comes to Jesus. And what I want to do is, like myself personally, is kind of give a little bit of my background and my history, I guess, when it comes to this whole Jesus thing. Because a lot of people ask me, so what's your views and what's your opinion on Jesus? And I want to start off with a line that Kanye West said to kind of like give my opinions and my views on Jesus. Now, um, and it's in a particular song I was listening to. I can't think of the name of it or whatever, but Kanye West says that we love Jesus, but we learn a lot from Satan. And I know a lot of people ain't really gonna want to hear this in this video or whatever. And I'm not trying to be funny or whatever to you Christians out there, but I'm serious. Like I myself love Jesus. See, Satan can't teach you love. Satan can't teach you love. Like Satan, love is an experience, really. It's something that can't be taught. You know what I'm saying? And Satan can't teach you love or whatever. That's something that you can only experience, and that's something that you have to get from having a connection with your higher self. You know what I'm saying? And to me, like when I deal with Jesus and the whole concept of Jesus, to me, I look at Jesus as love. It's like the same thing or whatever. And Jesus represents the heart chakra. To me, I mean, that's how I look at Jesus or whatever from a metaphysical point of view. So Jesus is how we experience love, like when we deal with the concept of Jesus. So Jesus is a figure of love, total love. Like, you know what I'm saying? And just basically like if love was to occupy this planet, Jesus represents how that would look. His life, the life that he lived, is basically represented by a life of love, a life of devotion, a life of belief. So with that, I'm not against Jesus. I'm not against Jesus at all because I understand the principle of it all. And my thing is that we have all these different religions out there, and you know what I'm saying. And some people believe in Buddha as a form of a Jesus. Some people believe in Muhammad as a form of a Jesus. But we have all these different religions that all basically believe in the same thing because it's a principle. And that's what I'm trying to get people to see is that from teaching metaphysics is that Jesus is a principle. You know what I'm saying? So it's Jesus represents love. You know what I'm saying? It's more than just a man. It's more than just a fleshly body. You know what I'm saying? Jesus is an entity that you can access and call upon, just like other entities. You know what I'm saying? And he represents the force of love, that ultimate force, you know what I'm saying, coming to this planet, the heart chakra. That's what he represents to me. And Satan represents the left hand path. See, Satan goes into learning, teaching, education, the left brained, understanding, trying to put things in perspective, control. See, all of this is on you. You learn these things through the left hand path. You see, so when you basically, what I'm trying to say here is that we love Jesus and we understand love through the principle of Jesus, but then at the same token, we learn a lot from Satan, just like Kanye West said, because Satan is the concept of teaching. Satan was represented in the Bible by the snake. So people call him Nakash, the serpent, the whispering one. And if you know anything about a snake, especially like a king cobra, a snake is very wise. Like they say, be wise as a serpent. It says that in the Bible. A snake is very wise. So Satan represents wisdom. Satan represents the left-brained aspect of the human state. Jesus represents the right brain aspect when things don't always make sense. You see, because to have faith, it's not going to always make sense. If you really truly have faith, you're going to have to basically rely on something that's unseen. See, that's true faith. True faith is when you rely on something that you can't see. And that's a right brain aspect. It's not something based on time. You don't know when it's going to happen. You have to have faith. See, a lot of people, they can't activate the Merkaba because they don't have faith. They don't understand belief. And the reason why is because they don't have love. So you can't really have faith and understand belief if you don't have love in your heart. See, faith comes from something unseen. Like I think Paul in the scripture says that it's the substance of things unseen, the evidence of things prayed for, or something to that nature. So faith is very important. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to understanding Jesus and understanding love. So that's what Jesus represents on a metaphysical aspect. Jesus represents that love, that truth, that peace, that freedom, that justice, those higher principles that we all want to experience. And Satan represents control, greed, lust. Of course, all the things that we, like when we basically overindulge into our senses. You know what I'm saying? Satan represents that, but then too, Satan has it's the left hand path. So it's the other aspects like education, believe it or not, can be up under the principle of Satan because of the fact of learning and things like that. So why am I saying all of this? Why am I saying all this? Why am I talking about Jesus and why am I talking about Satan? Now, to really, like, if you really want to get deep into this metaphysics thing and you really want to master yourself, you have to embrace both of these principles. You have to embrace the left hand and the right hand. And this is something that many of us try to get around, especially a lot of people that are in religion. They try to neglect it. They say, well, that's, Satanism. Satan's the enemy. That's the adversary. And it's a reason why you guys say that. You guys say that is because in religion it's taught that you're supposed to hate what you love, as far as on a fleshly level and what you desire. And that is represented by Satan because Satan represents the flesh and the material and the matter. But at the same time, though, we are all still in this body. And we are up under the rules and the principles of this body. And we are up under the rules and the principles of Saturn. And Saturn is equal to Satan. Many people know that. When you look at Saturn, you look at Satan. And Saturn is the taskmaster. Saturn represents what one must do. So I'm bringing all of this up because when you understand the character of Jesus and you understand the figure of Jesus, you're going to find out that Jesus was as much of a Satanist as he was, and this is my opinion, so people might get mad or whatever, but remember, this is just Rob Hotep's opinion. But he was just as much of a left-hand pather, let's say that, so we won't use a harsh term and say Satanist. He was much of a left-hand pather as he was a right-hand pather. Jesus was. And I believe personally that Jesus didn't die at the age of 33. Jesus didn't die at the age of 36, like some people say. Jesus lived to be at least 120 years old. And the reason for that is because Jesus, every time he comes to this planet, he always makes it to ascension. He always makes it to ascension. And in order to really ascend, you have to experience a long life on this planet. When a soul dies prematurely, no matter how much faith it has, it's going to always want to come back because it's not going to know what comes next. And we come to this planet to learn and research. So in order for Jesus to have mastered himself, he would have had to live to be 120 years old. And one cannot live to be 120 years old unless they eat a healthy diet, unless they have a lot of wisdom, unless they have a lot of knowledge, unless they learn. They're going to have to engage and learn some of the things and some of the rules of the left-hand path in order to live a long life. They go hand in hand. So in the Bible, in the story of Jesus, which is an allegory, they talk about how Jesus had to go into hell for 3 days. See, he had to go up under the rulership, even if it was just for 3 days, which could have been 3,000 years, because they say a day to the Lord is 1,000 years according to the Bible. So we don't really know how long these days were, is what I'm saying. So Jesus descended pretty much into hell. He descended into the underworld, according to the Bible, for like 3 days. And that means that he had to be up under the rulership of, for that time, of Satan. Because Satan is, according to the Bible, the king of hell, king of the underworld. According to, this is all according to the Bible. So in that, Jesus had to learn the lessons of Satan. Even if it was for a short time. Doesn't matter. He had to learn the lessons of Satan in order to fulfill his contract. You see, because it's no way that he could have fulfilled his contract if he lived to be 33, 36, or 120 years old. And I bring this up because this is something, what I'm talking about here is something that really needs to be understood by a lot of religious people, because a lot of religious people, they mean well and they mean good. They mean well and they mean good. You know what I'm saying? A lot of good-hearted religious people. That's why I'm not against religion, because it's a lot of good people in religion. It's a lot of love in religion. But they don't have the concept of wisdom mastered. Be ye wise as a serpent. So people in religion don't really know too much about other systems and spiritual systems outside of what they believe in. So a person that's, say for instance, a Christian only is going to study Christianity. A person that's strictly a Buddhist is only going to study Buddhism. And in that, it creates a lot of problems. Now, Buddhism, I want to point this out before I get into the problems. I want to just point this out because I kind of brought up Buddhism. Now, Buddhism really, ultimately, if there was an ultimate religion, Buddhism would be really the religion that, or the system that humanity really should be up under. When it comes to a religion, Buddhism is one of the oldest religions, or Hinduism, really. If you're looking at like really is Hinduism. Hinduism, that system of Hinduism and how Hinduism is set up is really should be, if there was a one world religion, so-called one world religion, I believe it should be Hinduism, mainly because they honor nature. They people say, you know, they honor too many gods or whatever, but they honor every aspect of nature. They honor over 30 million gods out here, according to one of my fellow subscribers. So Hindus have a very, I guess, good concept on, I guess, if you were to set up a religious system and structure that was in line with nature, that's in tune with nature. To me, the Hindu system is very much close to that. Even the way of life of most of the Hindus, they eat mostly a vegetarian diet. They believe in astrology. I mean, it's just a lot. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the whole Hindu school of thought. I'm going to do a video on Hinduism and Buddhism, so I'm not going to really go too much into that here, but I just want to kind of throw that out there that um, Buddhism really is like, would be like the oldest religion and probably like one of the best religions as far as diversity, that all people from all walks of life could adopt as a religion. Everybody would be cool to me. That's just my point of view. But so it's a lot of problems that comes in with when you only accept love. It's a lot of problems that comes in with that. You have to learn. You have to embrace wisdom, because if you don't study other systems and other schools of thought outside of your system and school of thought, you could be trapped and ensnared, and you can lose out on life lessons and things that you came here to learn, and things that you came here to research. If a person knows voodoo, say for instance, a person knows voodoo, they know black magic, and you don't. You're just a good Christian. They start working spells on you and working rituals on you and get your energy lowered and get your continence low and try to put you in a situation to where you turn into a victim, to where you turn into a sacrifice. I mean, it's people out here doing this, and the reason why people fall victim to these games is because they don't have knowledge. They don't have knowledge. Fear comes from a lack of knowledge. So people, they just say, I love God and I fear the devil. And that's where your problem comes in, that you love God, but you fear the devil. You fear the devil, and that's how he gets control over you. Because the devil operates off of wisdom. Really. All of that voodoo and all this crazy shit he does is all based on logic and reason and wisdom. The devil is very intelligent. And it's not about going to war against him, but it's about balancing those natures. It's not about fearing the devil. And you can still love Jesus. You should not fear the devil. You know what I'm saying? Really, even the Bible tells you that. But many people, Christians involved, Christians included, do fear the devil. They fear that energy. So, say for instance, a person, they know some different arts or whatever. They know a different religion. They come at you, engage you a certain kind of way based on these arts. And you're not going to really know how to get out of it, because you're this good Christian. You know what I'm saying? And you love Jesus. And I understand that, but you don't have a lot of wisdom. So you don't know what angle this person is coming at you on. Even it doesn't have to be a voodoo, and it could be, say for instance, it could be a accountant. And you don't know anything about accounting, right? So this person asks you to become your accountant. And you go say, okay, you're a good Christian. You say, okay, you can become an accountant. And this person could be on the left hand path, or not even just on the left hand path. This person could be like on some greedy shit. Like, I'm going to take, like, this is how I get. So basically, this person can take charge of your finances, take control of your finances, and rip you off without you knowing, because you don't know the laws of accounting, because you never really studied the laws of accounting. You know what I'm saying? So you don't really know what's going on or whatever. And this person can take everything from you. You know what I'm saying? That's where learning comes from. That's where wisdom comes from. That's where be ye wise as that serpent really comes from. So I'm just saying all that to say that we can't be fools. We can't be fools out here and just embrace love and think that we're going to get our life lessons. Um, Love is something that you have to remember. Love is something that's foreign here. It's something that's foreign here. So if you totally embrace love here, you will become a sacrifice. If you totally embrace love here, you will become a sacrifice. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, because the reason why is because it's nature. If you totally embrace something that's not from here, which is love, and you totally embrace it, you're gonna leave from here. Like they say, love don't live here. Love don't live here on this planet. It can be brought here. It can be channeled here. We see it sometimes. It's emanated through people. It's emitted through people, but it's not something that really lives here. You know what I'm saying? So it's something that we have to conjure up or get and bring down, really. So we have to really embrace both sides of it. We got to really embrace both sides. And I can give you an example, even in my own life. Like with me teaching up here, it's not peaches and cream. It's not peaches and cream being a teacher, because even in being a spiritual leader, it's gangster as fuck. If you if you say you want to be a spiritual leader, you better be ready to get into some drama. You better be ready to get into some gangster shit. Like for real, because being a spiritual leader is just like the mob. People gonna try to take your life. I just had somebody try to take my life the other day, or try to approach me or engage me the other day. You know what I'm saying? So it's people out to get me right now. I got prices on my head right now. I already know. I already know. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying all that to say that you have to really know what you get yourself into or whatever. If you want to like be like Jesus or whatever, Jesus lived to be 120 years old. He didn't die. People say he died, but Jesus was wise. So you think he died, but you don't know the whole story. You don't know the whole story. Like, just like I said, it's a lot of politics behind Jesus' death. It's just like some people say Adolf Hitler died. You know what I'm saying? During the time that history says he died, but then some people say Adolf Hitler just died like back in 2005, because Adolf Hitler, just like Jesus, had the blood of a king. And even in politics, they're not going to kill the king. They're just going to slip the king out the back door. And that's what happened with Jesus. They had the soldiers standing guard, and they thought Jesus was dead. Jesus didn't die. He didn't. People say, "Well, yeah, they had the soldiers sitting guard. He resurrected, and they didn't. And they came back, and they didn't see his body there. Yeah, they didn't see his body there because he was a magician. He escaped. He escaped. He escaped the casket. He beat death, and they put him off, sent him off to another country, just like they do the politicians and the gangsters and everybody else that runs this country in other countries and that runs the world. They're gonna send him off to another country, and Jesus chilled. Him and Mary Magdalene. He was married, and he had a son, and his wife, and his son was shipped off to some other location where nobody knew him, and he lived a good life. And he lived. A lot of stories say he lived to be 120 years old because he was wise, and he knew that he was bringing love and teaching something that was foreign. He knew they was going to try to kill him, just like they tried to do me. It happens to everybody. I was doing something that I didn't even realize I was doing last year, which was helping people to make the shift. I got on YouTube not trying to get a following, just like this new pope. See, I like this new pope and what's going on with this new pope, because he represents what's going on with this new pope. He represents Jesus coming back. Really, that's what people fail to realize. I'm all for this new pope because he represents Jesus coming back to this planet. His name is Francis. If you study the other Pope Francis from Italy, the Italian, he represented a person that took a vow of poverty, a person that decided that they were going to dedicate their life to work for the church. You know what I'm saying? And I really think that if you're going to be in anything, it takes dedication and it takes a sacrifice and saying, I'm going to put my all into this, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sacrifice my ego, and that's what Francis represents. And really what's going on with this new pope ties right into this video, which is about Jesus or whatever. So that definitely want to bring this up or whatever. Like, I mean, the whole thing with the pope, as far as them dining him and knighting him, as far as the new pope or whatever, it was all based around the number 13, which represents Jesus too. because Jesus and his 12 disciples make 13, just like 13 signs astrology. The story of Jesus goes into the 13 signs of the zodiac, so that's a whole nother story. But as far as this new pope, they had to use that 13 energy because the story of Jesus is really hidden in the number 13, not 12. Most people think it's 12. They say, well, 12 is the number of kingship. It's really 13. It's really 13 because of the fact that this pope was 76. That's 13. Um, when they brought out the pope, it was 7:06 p.m. in the Vatican. That's 13. Uh, the day of the pope, the day that they brought the pope in, is the 13th. That's 13. So it's like so many 13s associated with the Pope coming in, and it's all based on energy, and they know that they have to bring in this new energy. See, the 13 is the new energy, and the reason why you know it's the new energy is because the Pope is basically a new type of Pope. See, he's not from Europe. He's from South America. He's not from Europe. He has Italian. He's Italian in his blood. He's from Argentina. So it's, I mean, if you study bloodlines and just a lot of different other political information that I'm not going to go into here, you're going to see the significance of the change on this planet that's going to take place, and the Jesus coming back to this planet, and the peace, the 1,000 years of peace is coming. It's here. And that's what it's all about, is 1,000 years of peace. But then it's a lot of people out there that don't want peace. So it's a lot of people. So like when you decide that you're going to be a spiritual leader, getting back to that, when you decide you're going to be a spiritual leader, you have to know that you're going to have an opposer. I mean, even if you just up there on YouTube, you're like, I don't care what you're doing, you're going to have opposition. People, it's going to be people that don't like what you're saying. There's a lot of people that don't like what Ram Hotep is saying. I get a lot of it. I mean, I'm telling you, I have so many attempts on my life. People have tried to poison me. Hey, they have poisoned me. People have tried to kill me with guns. I mean, all type of shit, man. From just being a spiritual, so-called spiritual leader, because I'm not even that. Like I said, I didn't even make myself that. It's crazy because like I first got here on YouTube, man. Like I said, I was just a person that had a pretty hard situation or whatever. I'm not going to go into all of that here, but I had a pretty hard situation. I experienced poverty, you know what I'm saying, pretty harsh. And I experienced a lot of wealth and everything too in the streets. But I was just a person that was just like, let me just try to just offer another perspective, or kind of teach people some of this stuff that I got here in this head. Because people would always call me a walking encyclopedia and be like, man, this guy's nuts, man. Like all he does is just sit here and read these different books and stuff, but I don't understand this guy. So it just kind of was like, it wasn't about me getting no followers or whatever, just like I said, but it's like, it doesn't matter because I put myself out there, and then a lot of people kind of gravitated to what I was saying, and then boom, people just started making attempts on my life. And that's just the life of a king. See, Jesus was a king. It was his blood that really made him who he was. It was his bloodline, you know what I'm saying? And that's what people fail to realize. He was of the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Yahudah. You know what I'm saying? He had a certain bloodline. And if you study that new pope, that's what I'm saying, he's Jesus. Because you got to study bloodlines. Got to study bloodlines. And people don't understand bloodlines. So it's like when you have a certain bloodline in you, you become a king. And people don't like that. You become royalty. Like gold. People try to kill you for that shit. So I go through it. You know what I'm saying? I go through it or whatever, but I understand the left hand path. And I want to close with this point. I understand the left hand path, and I understand that the mission of the fourth Jesus, which is really the mission that the spiritual leaders and gurus are going to have to really embrace. The mission of the fourth Jesus, or the mission of the one. I'm going to do a whole video talking about this, but I'm just going to say this right here. The mission of the one is not no roses and teddy bears and hearts and love. Even in the scriptures, it talks about how he would come back with a sword dripping with blood, because he would come back and see that people didn't want to change on this planet. People don't want to change, and he came back to protect the planet. This fourth Jesus, when Jesus comes back, he doesn't come back to teach and love and help and do all of this stuff. He comes back to establish the kingdom. The first thing you got to do to establish the kingdom is clear out all the bullshit, clear out all the bad land, so you can lay down good land. And he came back with a sword dripping with blood. I mean, you have these people, they don't want to eat healthy. They don't want to stop consuming excess sugars and cokes. And they're fighting, even they're fighting politicians now that are trying to pass laws to make restaurants have to live off of a better healthy standard. But then you have these corporations and these people, the people too, that are fighting the politicians like, no, we don't want that law to get passed or whatever. So it's just a lot going on or whatever. And the thing is that you have to be wise as a serpent. Yeah, you have to be wise as a serpent, because even though it's the times of peace, there's people on this planet that don't want peace and don't want change, and that's where the bloodshed comes in at. That's where the sword dripping with blood comes in at. And if you on that really on that left hand path, you know that people are going to come at you, and you know that really it's about warfare. So that's why I said, really, to me, if Jesus was to come back, that's why I say if he was to come back, he would be on the left hand path. He's not going to be on the right hand path this time. He tried to help you out last time. He gave you that helping hand, that right hand last time. This time he comes to teach you, and if you don't listen, chop your head off with that head. You know what I'm saying? So I had many attempts on my life. You know what I'm saying? I had many attempts on my life, but don't think I don't forget. I don't forget. You know what I'm saying? I'm still on that left hand path. I don't forget. And I know who these people are. And time will judge them. That's all I'm gonna say. And I represent Saturn. So I am time. Time will judge them. So I put out a lot of different, this was like kind of like a random video or whatever that was really supposed to be about Jesus, but really I'm kind of just trying to stress to people the seriousness of spirituality and change that's going on right now in these times and on this planet. A lot of stuff is changing. It's like warfare like right now going on. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better as far as like people resisting change, because the more people resist change, the more bloodshed is going to take place, the more warfare is going to take place. But that new pope, the fact that they put that new pope up there, that represents change, and that represents the fact that the new energy is here. I looked at that new pope's aura. He had a blue aura around him. Had a really, really nice blue aura around him. I mean, I look at people's intentions. I mean, I don't care if you're religious or not. I look at your aura and your sincerity. And I believe that he's sincere. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to take someone that says, I don't care nothing about money and my ego. I just want to build back up the church, or build back up the economy, or build back up whatever it is that you're over, and basically and create a renaissance or reformation in whatever industry you're in. That's the industry. That's the energy that's going on right now, is that all industries are changing. The wheels of commerce is changing. You know what I'm saying? So people have to embrace that. And then there's a group of people that are not going to embrace that. So what happens is that it's going to be warfare, going back and forth, bloodshed, because you have the resistance and people that don't want change, and then the people that are bringing in change. And that's where the war comes in at. So it's pretty deep. It's just like when I was talking about my last video about the Uranus square Pluto. Remember I told you it was going to be a whole lot of drama? Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of drama. It's the time of the gangsters. It's the time, I mean, it's like mafia. So don't think that, Ram Hotep is scared. Don't think that the videos is going to stop just because I got attempts on my life. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. I really appreciate all the supporters. I love what I do. And I realize that when you put out when you put out the truth, of course you put up your life. So of course I realize that. But to you people out there just thinking you're going to take my life, it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to make that easy for you. I'm definitely not going to make that easy for you. And like I said, what goes around comes around. Just know that. Just know that what goes around comes around. You're dealing with a very skillful person here, so it's drama, man. I'm telling you, it's just like, I mean, teaching, religion, politics, the streets. I mean, I came from the streets, and I realize it's all the same. You gotta have the same mentality. So that's why I keep that. I'm keeping that street mentality. You gotta have the same mentality. And they send women at me, females at me. You know what I'm saying? You think I'm gonna take them advances? Take these females that you sending at me? I know who's sending them. There's other dons and kings out there sending them to try to kill this king, but it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna be just like the Jesus. I'm gonna live to be over 120 years old. Believe that. Trust that. Trust that. So I've already seen that, because I know in order for me to fulfill my contract, you have to live a long life so that you can see everything there is to see on this planet, experience everything that there is, experience all the emotions and all of that on this planet, life, death, birth, happiness, all of that. So I know I'm going to be here. So you guys don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. Just worry about the karma that you create for yourself. Those people out there that are playing your games, because I know your game. And worry about the karma that you create for yourself. So I hope you learned something from this video, this random video. When you watch Ram Hotep, it's always going to be something extra. It's always going to be something different. Always going to be something out the box. I guess that's why some people call me an extraterrestrial, because there's always some extra shit with me. So, but I really appreciate you guys. Much love and light to you guys. I thank you guys for listening and watching. And when we meet again, I will leave you all in peace, love, and light. Shout out to that new Pope too, Pope Francis. Definitely shout out to him. So, peace.